Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Y20 brainstorming session between the young Indian achievers and government institutions of urban and rural local bodies. Yuva is one of the stakeholders of Young Indians. It aims to plan projects and activities to impact youth leadership, which is building youth leadership with a futuristic thought process, nation building, which is development responsible youth for the future by engaging them in nation building, skill development, skilling and training of youth, and representing, which is the voice of India.
To understand the culture, study the dance. To understand the dance, study the people. Now, I would like to invite Sneha Adhikari, student of Centurion University, to grace us with their beautiful performance.
Wow, that was an amazing performance. Can we have a big round of applause again? Thank you so much, Sneha. I now invite Mr. Vishal Dalmia, the chair of Young Indians Bhubaneswar, on the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see so many young faces like me here. So as Gaurav Goel has mentioned, I would like to introduce YI, that's Young Indians to you. Young Indians is a movement of youth to converge, lead, co-create and influence India's future. It is an integral part of Confederation of Indian Industries, which is non-government, not-for-profit, industry-led and industry-managed organization playing a proactive role in India's development process. Young Indians is the official host to G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance and Y20 engagement group by the Government of India. YI was founded in 2002 and currently has 60 chapters across India with more than 6,000 members. YI Bhubaneswar was founded in 2007 and currently we are about 100 members strong. With the primary stakeholders like Yuva and Khalid, we take up various projects and initiatives like road safety, climate change, health, learning, entrepreneurship, innovation. You can see the logos there. With a focus on the 3 pillars of YI: youth leadership, nation building, and thought leadership. As I had mentioned earlier about YI being the official host of G20 YA, we in association with the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports are organizing Y20 brainstorming sessions all over India as a precursor to the main G20 event to be held in New Delhi later in this year. I thank all the distinguished guests who have accepted our invitation to be part of this August panelist. My heartfelt gratitude to Centurion University, especially to VC ma'am, Supriya ma'am, and Sagram sir, who really helped us to organize this event. At the end, thanks to all you, all the students and all the faculties right here who have joined for this, and thanks to my UR team also, who have taken all the pains to make this, to execute this wonderful event. So before taking much time, I will call upon Gaurav Goel to take this further. Thank you so much once again.
I now invite Professor Dr. Supriya Patnaik, Vice Chancellor, Centurion University of Technology and Management, to please address us with some inspiring words.
Good afternoon, everyone. To all the dignitaries here in the front and all my dear students and members of Young India, friends, everybody. Thank you so much for actually inviting me to talk here. And I always think that how many inspiring words can I come up with? But anyway, thank you, nevertheless. So I think it's wonderful. This movement itself is wonderful. And I think it's about time. I actually even teach. And I always tell my students that you're the future. And you're the ones who have to decide what kind of a society you want to live in. Right? So the decision is yours. So the fact that there's a movement which is actually looking at some of the real topical issues today that really need to be dealt with. I mean, otherwise we do understand that sustainability is going to be a big issue. So I think that the fact that you're dealing with issues like climate change, health, all the things that you're looking at is just apt and is just what is required. So having said that, now I think what is important is to see what is going to be the role of you all in this, and I think that's what we're looking at. I think one of the main issues where young people are concerned is to actually, I kind of keep thinking, what is it? The other day we had our president here and he was asking, what's education? What is education, right? And I think that it's a very important thing to ask ourselves here, that because that's what is going to help you in determining what kind of a future that you want. So Einstein actually defined it, and he actually said, you please go and do some research and find out. But I'll tell you how Einstein defined it as. And he said that what remains after you have forgotten what you have learnt at school is education. And I think that's what is very important, that it's not just about what you learn in the classroom, what it is that you do, but what you actually take back with you intrinsically, and what it is that will stay with you forever. And that's what we say, it's about lifelong learning. It's not about just, learning the lessons of classroom and learning those equations and algorithms and all those kinds of things. It's much more than that. Intrinsically, what is it that you take back with you? What is it that will keep on going, which will keep impacting on you? I keep talking about what's character, and that's what is required. What is it that you're going to take with you? So here at Centurion University, needless to say, our focus is really on skills. And we look at skills which is really hands-on, experience-based, practice-oriented. So that's what it is. It is not just about what you learn in the classrooms, but how do you apply it in whatever you undertake. So I think that's what is very, very essential in what it is that you do. Because at the end of the day, you finish your degree from here, you go get a job, and you end up not using most of the skills that you've learned here. And I keep saying that I myself, professionally, I'm a social worker. And I keep asking myself all the time, what is it that I bring from my education as a social worker into my present role? So I think that is what you have to keep asking yourselves, because you will go from a variety of positions that you choose to undertake. And so you need to understand what is it that you will take with you to whatever role you go to. And I think that is what is very, very important. And I see it as being, so one of the things we are talking about, and I did make some notes, but I feel like it's not worth going through those notes. So I'm just talking to you what I think is most relevant to this forum. So, yes, knowledge is important. It's not that knowledge is not important. So knowledge is important. But what is also very important is your capability and your competence. And I think that's where we sometimes fall back. Because I kind of say sometimes that I'm trying to hire somebody. I find a lot of people, yes, they're capable, but actually the kind of competence that I'm looking for in that field, they don't seem to have. So that competence is very important. And of course, that, you kind of pay attention to detail, you kind of deliberate on things. All those kinds of things are very important. And eventually, that you are active citizens, that you play the role of an active citizen, that you participate in things that are happening around you. Most of us just kind of try to wash off our hands and say, okay, that's enough. We've just about had it. I'll do what I have to do, and I don't want to do anything else, or anything more, or anything less. So I think that's what is important, is that how do you ensure that you're part of that system and where you contribute to society, not just as, okay, this is my job, I'm doing that, but it's much a greater contribution that you need to have. So I think these are some of the very informed, very important aspects that I hope that in this forum we will emphasize on. And I know you're talking about participatory development, and I think there are people who are much more equipped to talk about it than I am. So although I worked in the development sector for many, many years, but I still think that there are people who are much more equipped and are more current and up to date. So I would rather not speak about some of those things. But the fact remains that we would like to ensure, or we would like to see, that the voices of people are heard. So you need to speak up so that is the active citizenship that you should participate in. And you should also ensure that there is a space for everybody to have their voices heard. Because that's the other thing. Sometimes Just because our voices are heard, we tend to put down other voices. So how do you enable that other voices are also heard? So I think this is the kind of thing I would just like to highlight as young people going out into the world and really going to take up and move on in life. I think these are a few things that I would expect that some of you would want to, at least all of you, I would love to have all of you take on some of these lessons and move on in life. But even if some of you do it, it will be great. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inspiring words. You rightfully pointed out that post our degree, the values that are taught by the education institutions really helps us to face the challenges ahead. I would now request Shri Suryavanshi Mayur Singh to please address us with motivating thoughts.
Good evening, one and all. Respected Vice Chancellor of this university, all the distinguished guests, professors, office bearer, and my dear young friends. Before me, ma'am was said few words, but it's a word of wisdom. Because when a Vice Chancellor says anything or any teacher says to anything, we have to take it very seriously, because what we are today is because of our teachers. And before going for today's theme, that is participatory model, I just want to share one small story with all of you. I just read the story 2-3 days ago in a book. So this story says about the state of confusion that our generation is facing nowadays. So story goes like that. In a village there were two very good friends, and everyone in the village could give their example. Look at them, how good they are always sharing, caring, everything. So nobody could believe that they will fight ever in their life. One day suddenly happens that they started fighting with each other, and they started beating up each other. So villagers got scared. The person to whom we say consider as ideal, that they behave like a brother, they share, care, everything, and why they are fighting. So after that, then everyone decided, no, this is a very big thing. We should call the Gram Panchayat, we should call the Panchayats, and we should settle down this issue, because we can't lose two good friends. We don't want any animosity between these two friends. So everyone came on the Panchayat, what you called as a Panchayat's place. So they asked these two friends, there is such a huge fight in between you. You are such a good friends. You always care for each other. So nobody was telling anything. Maybe because of shame or something, we are not telling things. So then Sarpanch started, yelling at them, shouting at them. Now you have to tell what the matter. So one friend started saying the reason for the fight. The reason was, they were sitting, and as usual they are having a discussion. So they decided now we are in 12th standard, we should, how many days our parents will, earn for us, how many days they will support us. So we have decided we should earn for ourselves, and we should, fund our own education. So Sarpanch said, it's very good, then what's the matter? So they said, he come up with his proposal, I came up with my proposal. So what was the proposal? He said, I will my father is having a 20 acre of land, out of that 5 acre land I will look after the farm, and whatever earning I am getting from the farm, I will use for my own education. It's very good that you are, supporting your father. Then he asked second person, then what happened? He said, I had come up with the proposal that I will have, some cows and buffaloes, and I will look after them, I will rear them, and I will have milk, and I will sell them milk. It's also fine. Then what is the matter? Then he said, first friends said, he told that his buffaloes and cows will come into my farm. They will go there, and they will not roam here and there. They will have their grass there. Then first friend said, if I am having a farm, I am looking after the farm, and why his buffaloes or why his cows will come? And he said he will break the leg of my cow. Then I got angry, and I started beating him up. The moral of the story is, their parents were good enough that they can support their education. The problem which do not exist, they fought for that problem and ended up in being fighting with each other and beating with each other. So this is a step-top confusion that our young generation is facing right now. We are flooded with the information, social media, this, that, and in doing that, we divert our attention from the thing which we should do in our life. So that is the moral of the story, and forget about this, participatory governance. This promotes to the civic sense. If we don't get time for ourselves, if we don't get time, on development of self, we cannot develop civic sense into that. So nowadays we can see that many people are roaming in the city, they will see a lot of problem, but we don't dare, to speak up for the problem. If we don't inculcate the value of participation in ourselves, then we will not able to do that. So having said that, I will reserve rest of my, views for panel discussion. And thanks for calling me here. Actually, I had a little busy day, but I have come on the request with the thought that today is 27th April 2023, and exactly 5 years ago, 27th April 2018, my UPSC result came and I got IS on the same day 5 years ago. So I thought, just 5 years down the lane, let's go with the youth and cherish some moment with them. So thanks again, Young Indians, Centurion University, and all the organizers for calling me here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the motivational words. I would now request Supriya ma'am to please come on the stage again, and request the chair of YI, Mr. Vishal Dalmia, co-chair Mrs. Sonal Moore, co-chair of Yuva, Mr. Gaurav Lal, and Mr. Sangram, Dean Examinations, Dean Students Welfare. We have signed MOU with Centurion University of Technology and Management today, so we would just like to exchange that. So, ma'am, please.
Thank you, ma'am, for your support. Ma'am, if you please can stay for a minute. Ma'am, please, we'll welcome you with a planter. Please, for a few seconds.
I would now request Mrs. Sonal Moore, the co-chair of Young Indians Bhubaneswar, on the stage to brief us about G20 and Y20.
Namaskar. The God in me bows to the God in you. With this salutation, our G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance website goes live, binding together 20 countries as part of the G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance Summit. Young Indians is the official host to G20 YEA and Y20 engagement group. Young Indians, as Young Indians, the first thought that comes to my mind is why I? It's Young Indians. So each one of us here can ask us, why I? What I can do for this nation, what I am doing here, and where am I supposed to go? So that is what one question that we will leave you with the thought after this panel discussion. Under the G20 umbrella, this year we have India's presidency. We Indians are not only proud but futuristic to be the part of the global change makers. As Dr. S. Jaishankar, our Central Minister for External Affairs says, India is getting world ready and the world is getting India ready. There has been no better time in India's growth story. The G20 YEA Summit 2023 is being hosted by India by CII Young Indians. We are proud founder members of the Young Entrepreneurs Alliance. The G20 YEA is a global network of around 5 lakh young entrepreneurs and organizations which support them. The alliance has been established to convey every year in advance of the G20 summit to champion the importance of young entrepreneurs to G20 member nations and to share our own examples and practices. Youth20, Y20 as we call it, is an official consultation forum for youth from all G20 member countries to be able to dialogue with each other. The Y20 encourages youth as future leaders to raise awareness of global issues, exchange ideas, argue, negotiate, and reach a consensus. Y20 is conducting events across India to ensure the participation of young population in G20 activities. We have, from Young Indians, we have 60 chapters across India, and each one of us are trying to do our bit for making the youth a part of this discussion. Today we are here with the objective of involving you early in your leadership. With the panel discussion and with the G20 forum, we are here to present before you an idea to contribute to nation building, to be part of the change. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Sonal. I would now request Mr. Abhinesh Nayak to moderate the panel discussion, which is to be done on the 3 agendas: municipal reforms and participatory planning, institutional and human capacity building for social sector, citizen monitoring and social accountability of services. I would now be introducing the panelists, and please come on the stage, sir. Shri Suryavanshi Mayur Vikas, IAS Additional Commissioner BMC. He has been the Sub-Collector Sambalpur and is now the Additional Commissioner of BMC. He is a nature lover, foodie, and a classic music lover. We are really honored to have you with us, sir. This is a movement to inspire the youth. Professor KVD Prakash, Dean, IIE, HRD, Centurion University of Technology and Management, is a credible leader with over 26 years of experience in various functions like business, talent management, and development. Over the years, he has worked with Wipro, Reliance, and IIT Limited, and he has led the HR and CHRD functions for Wipro in many more Australia and New Zealand. Mr. Priyadarshi Mahapatra, founder of Cure Bay. He is an industry veteran with over 2.5 decades of experience in both enterprise and consumer space in India. He co-founded Oyster Bay, an early VC-funded jewelry chain that went on to become a recognized lifestyle brand and the second largest branded jewelry retail chain before being acquired by Fossil. Priyadarshi sir started his career with the Titan Industries and was part of the team responsible for establishing the brand Tanishq. Dr. Devi Prasad Rath, Project Head, PWN, UNDP. He obtained his PhD from Utkal University, Bhubaneswar, Odisha, in the subject of wildlife. At present, he is working with UNDP and looking after the plastic waste management project in the states of eastern parts of India. Our moderator, Mr. Abhinesh Nayak, the director of Z-Top IoT Solutions Private Limited, is the past chair of YI Bhubaneswar and has been in the national management team of Young Indians for 8 years, having managed different roles and responsibilities pan-India. His current startup is developing a med-tech device in Bhubaneswar for the global market, a device that will drastically reduce the pain from the prick of a needle, be it for vaccination or blood draws. He has also been a G20 YEA, which is Young Entrepreneurs Alliance, delegate in the past representing India. May I request all the panelists and moderators to please be on the stage, and I will request our chair and co-chair to please give them a small welcome token.
Hello. All set. Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. All right, I think we need to do something there. So, I can see the energy, I can feel the energy, but well, we'll see to that. So, the great Rishi Munis and Rishis had said that of Bharatvarsha, had said that whenever you start an event or a discussion, it should always start with a positive note, right? So maybe a coincidence, but today morning when I woke up, I got a message in WhatsApp, a 144-page, 52 MB document. I'll not go through the 144-page document, but let me also give you the gist of that. So the gist is, Bhubaneswar scores highest in seamless mobility, ranked third among promising cities with up to 10 lakh population, scores highest on efficient and renewable mobility, commuting considered safest in Bhubaneswar. Temple City has over 40 kilometers of bicycle lane and wider roads, public transportation affordable between any 2 points. So congratulations to BMC for the fabulous job. So today morning I woke up to this very great news, which was basically shared by the CMO office, and I thought no better day, and his 5th anniversary also. So I think it's a it's a gift for you on your 5th anniversary, right? So having said that, let me also set the tone for the discussion over here. And for the awareness of our panelists over here, our primary audience are students. They've already had a 8-hour-long day, and after going through all the educational obligation that they had, now they are sitting in front of us. And we'll make sure that it is entertaining, it is lively, and at the same time, you also get to learn a few things. And also to set the context right with the theme being participatory model of governance, it is very important for us to also understand the past, the current, and the future. Right? So with that note, I would like to pose my first question to Suryavanshi ji. So when we talk about BMC, what was the primary focus of BMC 5 years back? What are the current focus of BMC, and what do you think or foresee would be the primary focus of BMC in the next coming 5 years?
So as far as any BMC or any urban local body is concerned, focus is always, to give the citizens sustainability. Apart from that, all daily things which will, citizen will feel, yes, our city is going ahead, city is moving forward. You just shared the indices, and I think this is not happened in a one day. Since last 5 years, 10 years, last 15 years, work we are going on this, all these criteria, all these parameters, and that's why today what BMC has achieved. If I talk BMC as a city or Bhubaneswar as a city, definitely the city, it's very old city. Almost more than 2000 years of history we have for the Bhubaneswar. If we look at the temples, I think there is no capital in the country which holds so many temples, and all temples are almost 700 years, 800 years, some more than 1000 years also. So if I compare last 5 years, today and tomorrow, the BMC's focus is urban mobility, sanitation, drinking water, and citizens' participation. So how we are achieving through it? So we have a smart city. Through that platform, we are open on the Twitter, we are open on various forums. We have our own dedicated toll-free number where citizens can call. They can share what the problems citizens they have, and we try to solve it. What we see in next 5 years, I think already you all know BMC, BDA, and all urban local bodies in Bhubaneswar have pulled up their socks for the new metro rail to enhance the mobility of the city. So we are working on it. As far as Swachh Bharat Sarvekshan is concerned, we have launched a new campaign, you may be aware, that is Bhubaneswar First. And main motive of this campaign is not to achieve all India rank 1 in sanitation, but in all the aspects. Let's say, for example, Bhubaneswar is a very green city, but when any person come from any part of the country, he must say, yes, Bhubaneswar is number one city in the greenery also. Bhubaneswar is number 1 in cleanliness also. Bhubaneswar is number 1 in urban mobility also. Bhubaneswar is number 1 in disabled for the disabled, free for them, health also. So Bhubaneswar first is a campaign. I think in next 5 years it will be a game changer for the city.
Thank you. My next question would be to Priyadarshi ji. Priyadarshi ji has been a corporate honko, having done many stuff in India and abroad. So I would like to focus on technology and commerce. So if you talk about technology and commerce, what do you see how it was 5 years back? How do you see it right now? And how do you see it 5 years down the line?
Thank you for having me here, and I see a whole bunch of young faces here full of energy, and I'm actually feeling inspired to be here at this moment. Thank you for that. Technology and commerce are a very interesting topic, and I must go back to my days with starting from SAP, where we were looking at creating a book of accounts, to be honest. It was a system of records that we used to say, and the primary purpose of that used to be a visibility of information. How do you have a single source of truth and you have visibility to information that you can use? From there, we have today come to a stage where we take it for granted that information is there, and we want that information to be intelligent enough to take calls on its own, to do things which will impact our life. Just to give you a very small example how technology has impacted commerce. All of you must have remembered then when we started initially buying products online, or we started transacting online, that was a big step. And the only thing we used to be concerned about that time was, did my payment go through? And when am I going to receive the package? When is that courier waybill number going to tell me where the package is? From there, today we have a system designed which tracks whether you have actually run out of the consumable that you wanted at home, sends a trigger which auto orders the product for you, and before that toothpaste could be over, you have a new pack at your doorstep. That is when technology becomes a part of your life. It's no more about automation. It's no more about single source of truth information. Technology today has become seamlessly integrated into our life to impact us to become more productive and focus our energy in doing more things. Just a small example I want to give you. When I was at Google, I used to have a colleague of mine sitting next to me who was part of the YouTube team. And all of us used to think YouTube is all about fun, right? I mean, every day people are watching videos, and this guy probably has the best job in the world. I mean, he's just watching multiple videos, uploading videos. Then one day he told me, I can tell you exactly from your viewing experience, what are your preferences, what kind of products you will buy, and at what time of the day I will push a particular commercial to you that within 30 seconds you will be tempted for instant gratification, which means you will reach out to your pocket, complete the transaction. And that sort of impacted me that, hey, some technology out there is tracking me to a moment that it's not just become intrusive as a system into my life, but it's triggering actions which I'm forced to do. And that's the impact of technology today. I believe technology for future will go a step forward. It will be more about good commerce. We have moved from commerce to efficient commerce to good commerce. Good commerce is going to focus on using technology to do things which are good for the society. We will ensure that things which are not so good for the commerce actually triggers information to the right authorities to take a control mechanism, because any system which will run without governance and cadence will have its own pitfalls. So to me, the technology will continue to be a part of life, continue to make us more productive and efficient, but will also trigger a mechanism in which it becomes good commerce.
Thank you. And we cannot ignore technology, right? So technology is part of your life right now. You wake up, technology. So my next question would be to to Devi sir. I mean, UNDP has a lot of focus areas, be it inequality, poverty, resilience, governance, so on and so forth. So if you have been in UNDP, so my question to you would be, sir, 5 years back, what was the UNDP's core focus areas? What are the current focus areas that the UNDP is working on? And what do you think in the next 5 years, the focus areas of UNDP?
Thanks for the question. Okay. Thanks for the questions. Actually, I am here as the proxy. I mean, the last moment I was told to come because Abha was supposed to come. She had some urgent meeting came up, so I would like to say not exact UNDP, but what I am looking for that. because I'm associated with very recently. The major focus now is the decentralization approach. You know, decentralization approach means all the information is now right from top to the bottom. The people can have the thing right from the bottom and access the information. For example, I'll give you one example. During the COVID, you must have used that COVID, the software, I mean, where how many people have been vaccinated, all the things are there. So this is how it's, I mean, that was designed by the UNDP. And this information, the people used to put that thing information. I mean, the person who gets vaccinated, then and there only that information is captured by the technology, as the technology captured that thing. And with that thing, there's a management group, they see how much we have covered, how much is left out, and what action we need to achieve our goal. So this is the way, I mean, UNDP has helped that thing. And there are several other examples also like that. Also, like last time also I was here, I mean, a few months back, I was talking about the waste management sector, how we were working. So I'm just giving one example, which Odisha state government is also doing that thing. That they're making a database where everyday waste collection is being captured in the system. And they can know within a fraction of, I mean, we just click a button, how much waste is placed in which area, which will be, how much waste is there, and if you want to market that thing, how we can take the step, all the things, and where the things are not happening. And similar things also we have started. I was actually working in the energy sector also previously. I was working in the private sector. There also with the SHGs, we also develop a kind of system, how much billing or how much that real-time development is there, so that we can have the information right in the moment. Suppose I'm giving an example. There is a billing cycle is there. I mean, people are engaged to collect electricity bills. You have to know right from the beginning what is the status. पहले क्या होता था कि earlier they used to come at the end of the month कि अरे हमारा billing नहीं हुआ है, collection नहीं हुआ है, so what do you do? But with the use of technology, all things, the decentralized approach, right from the beginning, you know where the trend is going on, and you have the corrective measures in the place. So.
Thank you. My next question again would be to Prakash ji. Prakash ji again has been in the corporate world for a long time, right, and also in the education sector. But my focus or my question to you, sir, would be on the education sector. So when you talk about education or learning for that matter, how do you see it, how it was 5 years back, and especially during COVID and post-COVID?
Sure.
Because I think there has been a very paradigm shift in terms of the delivery and expectations, right? So if you could throw some vision on that.
Thank you, first of all, and very good evening to all of you for having me on the panel. It's an interesting question. The way I would like to put forth my understanding and also what has come out is, if you look at education before COVID, it is more a rote learning and more conventional learning, except for a very few institutions where they have been more into hands-on practice or more in terms of experiential learning, more in terms of out of the classroom learning, so to say. And that was coming in the play. But however, it was not substantial enough to dominate the rote learning, because the conventional learning continued to be there in this country. But today what has happened with COVID is, the first and foremost thing is, I think COVID has started teaching a lot of education lessons. For example, every one of them had to learn how to get onto a Zoom call. Every one of them had to learn about the internet and its bandwidth. The third was to saying that, look, you have to have it and you have to come to also interface with it. It was not just about knowing how to operate, but also about interfacing and interpreting it. And the fourth one was, I think automatically the students, apparently the young people, got onto it, and then they freaked out because they were always glued into the mobile phones that were easy access. And some of them really went on to saying that this style of presentations they could actually witness. So the learning really happened during the COVID, while the COVID out there was a big challenge. And then what transferred from there was after COVID. So after COVID, obviously the classrooms were completely different. There were flipped classrooms, there was a technology-enabled classrooms, and there were interactive classrooms. So the students automatically came to adapt in all those part of it. And I think what's going to happen is, apparently the examination process is going to change going down the line, because the facilitators will be the teachers, and the learning is actually going to take place by themselves. And there are going to be doubt clearing classes which is going to be there, more than regular classrooms. And out there they need to get into more from the thinking world, what it was there, to the more of a doing world. They have to switch. So it's no more about what you know, it's about how you do. I think the next 5 years, what's going to happen is it's going to be more in action and action. So doing is more important. I think the way we are all going to be screened after 5 years is not about what you carry in your CV, but more in terms of what you can do there. And the window or bandwidth of really testing this out is going to be 20 minutes. So in 20 minutes, how you present yourself, how you actually bring the skills, how you impress upon the other side, how do you negotiate, and how do you really give that insight to the person that you have the potential and the talent is going to be the game. And otherwise everything is touch and go, because everything is on hands-on. It's just about how you can integrate them. So if you are a great integrator, if you are a resource integrator, if you are a technological integrator, as my colleague said on the side, I think that is the game which is going to be played down 5 years. So education definitely is going to be more hands-on. It's never going to be more in terms of what you know. It's about doing it, it's not knowing it. So that's how I would like to probably present this picture.
Thank you all. So basically now that we have set the context, right? So if you see, listen to all the panelists, so there's a little bit of participatory or participation, right, with the stakeholders. So I remember in 2016, when for the first time Make in Odisha was organized and Sanjeev Chopra ji was the Principal Secretary Industries. At that time the concept was ease of doing business. And interestingly, Odisha was in the top 3 of ease of doing business during his time, right? But now the mantra has changed. Right now it is ease of living. So we just heard at the start that, Bhubaneswar won, and I scored very well in ease of mobility. Right? So ease of mobility is also ease of living. And if we listen to the Suryavanshi ji, it was all about participation, it was all about ease of living. So whatever example he gave was basically ease of living. Right? On the same context, to delve a little bit deeper, again my first question to Suryavanshi ji would be, so sir, what are the reforms that BMC is planning in the context of participatory model of governments, which is a theme, especially in citizen monitoring and social accountability of services? Because you spoke about feedback, so in that context, if you could share your views on that.
So, while answering this question, the very purpose of urban local governance or rural local governance is participation of the people. So for all, I will just briefly give one example. These urban local bodies or rural local bodies came into existence after 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment of the constitution. So very purpose was closer the government to the people, more will be impact on day-to-day life of the people, and it will actually enhance participation of the people. So if you have corporators, sarpanch or someone like that to whom you can reach easily, it will ensure the higher participation. So while taking any decision, so we are now going for various cleaning activities, various infrastructure development activities. Many of the time it may not be possible that we come to all citizens of Bhubaneswar and seeking their opinion. So in that situation, and when there is a population of city like 12 lakh, 14 lakh, 50 lakh, 20 lakh, it's humanly impossible to take everyone's opinion into account. So in that situation, the representation and participation through representation takes a very important role. As far as BMC is concerned and participatory model of governance is concerned, I will give a small example. So in 2018, Bhubaneswar held World Cup hockey, and this year also. So at that time, many of you have observed that Bhubaneswar has come up with the beautiful paintings on all walls, major walls, and wall painting in the city. So this time what we did, we float one message on the Twitter. We went for a survey. So we divided city in the 6 zones, and people had been asked, to give their opinion, what kind of painting they want to see in which part of the city. And people actually gave their opinion. Yes, if it's AG Square, they want to see some, government buildings or genesis of the city. If it's a Khandagiri and Udayagiri, they want to see the traditional element. And accordingly, we ask our painters to, this is the theme for you, come up with the paintings. And that way this has been done. So this is a very small example for the participation. Likewise, now all officers in the Bhubaneswar moving in the city early in the morning, 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the field and talk and roaming each corner of the city to go very close to the people and just get the opinion from them, how more their opinion can be accommodated in decision making of the town. So as far as participation is concerned, apart from the technology, so we have technology, we have mobile phone, we have Twitter, we have everything. Till then, everyone is not having access to the internet also. So in that time, any local body finds out multiple ways to engage their citizens. Maybe it's a ward level committee meeting, maybe it's, in Odisha we called is a bhoji, like, so just ask people to come over there to discuss on that. So this is the way that we always promote the participation of the people. And as far as urban governance is concerned, the corporators or different office bearers, stakeholders, they always give the suggestion. Yes, in our ward we want vending zone here, we want road there, we want drainage there. Because though Bhubaneswar in cleanliness, it's very at the, in indicators it is at the on upper high. So still there is always a scope for improvement. Even if Indore is a #1 city in cleanliness, still that city may have some scope for the improvement. So as far as this improvement concerned, feedback mechanism always helps us to, through citizens participation, what they want. Because even if we are giving water 24/7, maybe after 10 years people will say, yes, we are getting water 24/7, but we want, nowadays different bacteria we are finding in the water. Maybe after 10 years down the line, people will say, yes, we are having 24/7 supply, but still we want more cleanliness. Maybe now we are having aquaguard, different mineral rich water. Maybe people will demand for that. So through this participation, always these demands come, and then the governance, city governance or state governance or central governments try to respond to this such demands.
You rightly said, bhoji is a good motivator for Odias. We love food, right? And also I have to comment BMC because we have seen instances where people have complained on Twitter about garbage or anything else, and I've also seen the response. And interestingly, yesterday night, while checking my Facebook, I saw, BMC had posted that at 12 o'clock, there's an electricity to check whether the lights on the streets are on or not. So, I think I have to comment on that, and we can see the difference that is happening in Bhubaneswar, right? So Bhubaneswar first, I think, is in the right path, and all our support for that. So my next question is to Priyadarshi ji. I know that Cure Bay is looking at the bottom of the pyramid, tier 2, tier 3 cities where you're planning to deliver secondary and primary healthcare services, right? So now we'd like to understand, is there a paradigm shift in the way healthcare is being delivered as a service? And how participative is it, and how important is participatory for your business model in general? So health in general, if you want to add anything, we'll be more than happy to hear you out.
No, absolutely, very, very relevant question. But before I delve into answering the question, compliments to you, sir. And I take credit that, I started my career in Indore, which was the cleanest city. Now my swan song is Bhubaneswar, which is the next cleanest city. So I'll take some credit for that. Coming to the question that you asked on healthcare and access, I go back to the point you made. I think historically, if you see, there is a challenge to anything you want to do which is inclusive in nature if there is an arbitrage. Whether it is knowledge arbitrage, information arbitrage, or financial arbitrage. Technology has played an extremely important role in taking that arbitrage out by making information accessible to everybody. Today, somebody sitting in the remotest parts of the country is not willing to go to the Jhola Chap or the Quack for healthcare services because 900 million mobile phone penetration is there in the country. Everybody has access to net, and they know what are the right healthcare services. In fact, we used to joke saying Dr. Google is now becoming an answer to a lot of things, which has its own pitfalls. I'll not get into that. But the fact remains that people are now conscious about what they need. That brings me to the next point. You cannot have inclusive and sustainable growth unless right to healthcare becomes an absolute paramount parameter for everybody. And when I say right to healthcare, it is right to high quality and affordable healthcare. So at CureBay, one of the principles that we took into place was, how do you leverage a model where the physical infrastructure is powered through a technology backbone that helps in creating access to this high quality and affordable healthcare. Now you asked me about, is there a paradigm shift? Is it participatory in nature? I'll answer both the parts. Yes, there is a paradigm shift. I've been in technology for a long time. I think one of the industries which was a little bit of late, coming to the class late in adopting technology was healthcare. Because typically if you look at healthcare, a lot of investments, specifically by private bodies, has gone into tertiary healthcare because that's where the money in the value chain was. Everybody left primary healthcare, which is the upstream of healthcare, for the government to solve. Government did a phenomenal job in creating a 4-tier architecture in terms of district headquarter hospitals, CHCs, PHCs, sub-centers. But the real challenge that existed on the ground was how do you really make up for the massive gap between provider and patient ratio that exists, right? And that's where I believe things like technology play a role. Earlier we saw technology playing a very, very important role in medtech devices. I think one of the most amazing IP that has been created in healthcare today is in medtech. India has got some amazing devices which you can carry to the remotest of area, and we heard about the device. I think our distinguished moderator here is also working on, which can be taken to the remotest area. Painless execution can happen, which will enable people with high quality healthcare. But there is another layer to healthcare. How do you now connect the healthcare ecosystem to people? And those people who are demanding high quality healthcare actually get it at their doorstep. And that is where participatory becomes extremely important, because your objective now has to move from the doctor having all the information and it passing one way down to making it patient-centric. The patient has to demand a healthcare not just when the condition is acute or chronic, but also to look at preventive. Worldwide, the paradigm shift that is happening in healthcare is people are no more concerned only about acute and chronic conditions. They're looking about adapting health practices to move to a preventive layer. And that's where I believe technology is going to play a very, very important role. Today morning, in fact, in one of my LinkedIn posts, one of my investors' portfolio company actually pinged me saying how ChatGPT is being used now to query your health record. You might have multiple records, you might have amazing storage capacity, but you don't have the ability to process this information and know what's relevant for you. In fact, ChatGPT does that for you. These are primitive stages, but as we go forward, we will see this technology is going to make the whole process more inclusive. It will create a patient-centric role, so the patient is actually going to participate in the conversation on how to take control of their healthcare, and no more that arbitrage where the doctor was just being treated as God and the only person who knew the information is going to exist. So that's the role I believe technology will play in this paradigm.
Lovely, thank you so much, Veerashi. Really wonderful. Prakashji, when you talk about Centurion University, we understand the model that we have, the entrepreneurship model that you have from the bottom of the pyramid, right? I think you have soap making and other things, and also which was validated by Suryavanshi while coming. He saw all the hoardings, aap ye sab bhi karte ho kya, right? So on that context, sir, we'd like to know your thoughts on different participative models for human and institutional capacity building for the social sector that Centurion is known for.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting one to answer here is we have been able to take inclusivity as one of them. Along with that, we have been also participatory in the sense of, let me give some examples here. So we had in the particular belt of Odisha, which is towards the south, we had a set of tribal girls who were probably not able to get the mainstream education, and they had something to, there is a challenge. For example, the malaria clinics which was there, and they had to probably crop up to handle, and somewhere if we could orient them and give them a kind of right education, they could probably sustain it, and that could be a factor which can be seen. So we went into something with respect to through an NGO and through a kind of a third party participatory part. We went ahead and we did that curriculum. We designed that special curriculum wherein we could take them in and we can give that opportunity to mainstream, and they really got out of it, and they are now able to set up and operate on their own. So what did we do? We made them sustainable, we make them employable, and we do not talk much about entrepreneurship, but I think we need to talk about employability. I think that's more important because employability can create entrepreneurship automatically. And then of course, at the end of the day, they need not really depend on somebody. So this also gives them a confidence to take it forward. So these are very small examples. But we have also the industry which is coming in collaborating with us. We have various institutions who have been collaborating with us, and we have been participatory in that mode in the sense that wherever we want to learn something, we take the support and we make them as a mentor. Wherever we are good at it, we are ready to also share. And that is how, let me come back to the skill side of it. We have gone into something like Ramadevi University, and what we did is we set up a skill center there, and the idea was to give them and transfer them this so that they can also really get into the skill part of it, and then give the benefit to the young people or the young Indians, and then give them the opportunity. So that is what we have transferred the KT, the knowledge transfer has happened, and that can be a part of our participatory model in that. So in many ways, not in one stream, because we have various schools and we have various streams. In every stream we try to get into more and more deeper into it, and it is not that we don't want to leave anything unaddressed, but yet some are in advanced mode, some are not in an advanced mode. Like just now we talked about the telecom and the healthcare. One of them is not as much in the classroom as the other, but then both eventually came to the classroom. So that's what happens, and that is what is the intent we also take it at Centurion. I hope I have been able to cover that question.
Very nice to hear that. I can see the synergy over here, even though the panel is so diverse, but we can always see the synergy that is there, which is very interesting. Now I have the question for Abha ma'am, but I'll pose it to you. And you are very specific, PWM, plastic waste management, but I'm sure you can sort of try to answer on that context, right? So UNDP has been doing a lot of projects, a lot of focus areas, interacting with a lot of stakeholders. We'd like to understand different participatory models that you are in different sectors, that you use in different sectors, and how do you reach, approach your stakeholders, and what is their motivation to participate? Sir said about Bhoji, so is there any other motivation apart from that? Because you can do a lot of projects, but when we talk about participative governance, we have to have an active participation. It's not just we go and do the project and come back. We also need them to participate, interact, and rightly as ma'am said, intrinsically interact. So if you could throw some light, what is the approaches that you do so that you motivate for them to come for their own good. Because sometimes you want to do their good, but they are not interested, right? Like Priyadarshi had said, you want to do them good, but they are not interested, right? So how do you sort of tackle that challenge?
Go one example, it is not with PWM, but it is with energy sector.
Thank you.
So a little bit diversity. So this is actually a real experience. It is started with Noyagarh. You must be knowing that women SHGs are doing the billing, electricity billing and collections in Noyagarh way back in 2010, and it is a success story. But how it is started, and because I was involved in that thing right from the beginning. So when we took over that place in Noyagarh division, that AT&C loss was 57%. That means if you spend 100 rupees, you can recover only 33 rupees. 57 rupees is the loss. And in loss-making sector, it was given as a micro-enterprises model. The women SHGs are given the responsibility, aap log jao and you go and collect the, because in Odisha, in the rural areas, still the billing collection, door-to-door collection system is still there. It is not that in city you are getting the bill and depositing the bill online, but now things are developed. But that time it is, you have to collect it, otherwise they will not give the bill. So women SHGs are given the thing, and we found that how to take this stakeholder into confidence. They don't have any knowledge on these things. So then we also did some study also. What is the background, what is their learning level, what is their motivation level, how they work, what is their daily lifestyle, all the things. Then we decided, okay, we need to intervene in 4 different things. First we try to build the skill. What is the electricity bill, what it contains, because they didn't know anything. There's a machine called spot billing machine. They put the number, they have to give that, take the number, bill will come up, give the consumer and come back. And next day you go and collect it. Kitna bill hua, kitna collection hua, they are list banda. So, and the consumer will definitely say ki, "Arey, maine to itna jala nahi, I didn't use this much of electricity, how come the bill is so much?" So they don't have any answer to that. So we try to build their knowledge and the skill, ki what is the bill, how it is being calculated, what the different components of the bill, there is meter rent, fixed charge, different slab areas, all things. It took some time for us to convince them. Then there are 150 SHGs are there in the entire district. Okay. So it is not a easy task, Herculean task. I mean, we have different kind of meetings, different kind of say bhoji, and small workshops like monthly workshop, and we have big meetings, small meetings, focus group meetings like that, and we try to convince that thing, and we try to understand what is the problem they are having. And the field, they comes here, we are going this village, this particular area, there are some antisocial elements that don't allow us. Then we take the help of the police or the departments how to tackle that thing. And there's some other technical things are there. Sometimes meter is not giving the reading properly, reading people are there, but meter is not there, meter is there, people are not there, like that, I mean all the things. And there are also BPL consumers there. They said the government has given us free electricity, but the campaign is that electricity connection is free, congestion is not free. So it took a lot of time to think, and with this, then we also give a, what is it, performance-based incentive. We introduce skill performance-based incentive, and they said if you do this, then you are getting 6%. At that time, they're getting 6% of the things. So if you achieve 80%, then you get 6%. If you achieve 90%, you get 7%. If you achieve more than 100%, you get 8%. And that actually works very well. And within a span of 3 years, that 57% loss came to 30%. And some of the SHGs, they on the, their earning has gone so up, they used to have scooties and all the things. And then it was taken up by the state, if from one district the things are happening, why not all others? Now the SHGs are doing the things very well. Everywhere you can find in the waste sector, in the sanitation, all the SHGs. These are success stories I'm telling. How this, we get this success. These are key areas that we did skill building exercise, we did capacity building exercise, we did motivational things, how to motivate them with the kind of incentives, all things. And there is a continuous monitoring and handling support was being provided with the help of the technology. So this is the one of the example how with the technology, how we build the capacity of the particular stakeholder and get the result, and how it has changed the policy level intervention in the state also.
I think this is fit for a case study, sir. I think we should do a case study on this. Well, from the clapping that the students had, I can see the energy level is little low. So we will take a small break. Break doesn't mean we're going out, so we'll just divert from the topic. So when we talk about governance, especially participative governance, what it also means, as everybody, all the panelists have said, is that we have to interact with a lot of stakeholders. So it's an open question to all my panelists that, if you could share an anecdote or an interesting incident. I'm happy that all of my panelists have shared their examples, right? So again, I would like to have more examples, because I think examples is something that would be more interest for the students over here. But being a moderator, I take the privilege to share my anecdote first before coming to you guys. The privilege that the moderator has, right? Well, so in 2017-18, we had come up with this interesting platform called Swasthya Health Identity Card, right? So we did a pilot, right? And we thought, now that we have done a pilot, let's put it on the web and let us sort of promote it and see what is the feedback, right? So Swasthya basically was an EHR, electronic health repository, platform where you can put all your health records, medical bills, blah blah blah, and you can share, you can have second opinion and all. So we went to Facebook Baba. We told Facebook Baba, this is our very beautiful poster. We paid money to Facebook Baba, and we told Facebook Baba, ki bhai, now that we are gone online, please promote. So Facebook Baba used all his algorithm, AI, ML, ABCD and everything. And somebody in Solan, opened his Facebook, and suddenly Facebook Baba popped our message, Kitang Swasthya. So that guy looked into that and said, "Arey, ye to interesting hai." So we had a customer care number, and that guy calls us. I want to register. हाँ जी, आपने समझा है फीचर्स क्या है इसमें? हाँ, इंश्योरेंस कार्ड है ना? नहीं सर, ये है, ये EHR कार्ड है, इसमें रिकॉर्ड रखते हैं. अच्छा, ये इंश्योरेंस नहीं है? नहीं सर, इंश्योरेंस नहीं है, बट आपका इंश्योरेंस का जो डिटेल्स है आप इस कार्ड में रखते हैं, तो फिर ये इंश्योरेंस है ना? So what I want to bring forward is that sometimes when you're talking about participative governance, it is also a strong bias that people have. Sometimes we have to overcome that, because people are used to, in a way, the thought process is in a streamlined way. So sometimes when we talk about participative governance, and I'm sure all four of you would have faced when implementing your projects, where you have to fight those strong biases. Right? So this was one of my anecdotes that I wanted to sort of share, but I'd be more than happy to share if you have anything interesting to share with them, so that we can sort of make them a little lively and then a little more attention from them.
Let me give you a very, very different example. How the ecosystem sometimes participates to solve a problem. I'll give you an example from my Microsoft days. One of the biggest challenge for us was piracy. As you know, out of every 100 PC that sells, almost 90 were Windows PC and almost 96% of them have Office. But the official revenue in my P&L was 30%. That was the amount of leakage, significantly higher than the electricity leakage which was there. And for all of you who are familiar with the northern part of the country, you will know of a place called Nehru Place. In Delhi, if you go to Nehru Place, any product that you want, you will get a counterfeit of that. And we realized that that's where the biggest amount of piracy is happening. And they were my biggest channel partners also, right? Officially also they used to buy the microphone. So how do you fight that? So once we went there, and we called all the people in Nehru Place who were the large sort of people who used to do this piracy, saying, listen, can we create a win-win situation? So, हाँ सर कर सकते हैं. So how do we do it? बोले इसको free कर दो. ये क्या मॉडल हो गया? हमने how do I make the product free and obviously it will become genuine? बोला नहीं ऐसा मत कीजिए. You charge your OEMs. तो HP, Dell, Lenovo जो आपका PC बना रहे हैं उनसे पैसा लो. इसको free customer को लगना चाहिए free है. You take money from them and preload a genuine product. So when the product lands in the market, it has come preloaded with a genuine product. I actually went back to Seattle to propose this idea. They laughed it out because Office for Microsoft is holy cow. And you're talking about preloading a holy cow for almost free. So they said, you've lost your mind. This is one of those wacko Indian stories. But we said, we took an example from Bollywood. We said when piracy was happening for Bollywood movies, they made it official for people to buy CDs almost at free. And that's how the piracy was solved. We did it as an experiment. We went to Nehru Place. That was our first example. Preloaded pieces and put. 54% of the revenue became genuine. That's the power when you get the ecosystem to participate in solving a problem. And if this participatory approach is taken across, I think Suryavanshi gave a brilliant example of how the citizens participated in how to make the city beautiful, right? So we gave a brilliant example of how the SSG groups came. But the essence remains, if you go back to your audience, you relate to them the bigger picture and they participate in the process, serendipity happens and magic happens.
Lovely. I think examples are the one which you can sort of relate to. So happy to see the claps going a little louder than the last time. Thank you so much. Sir, if you have.
So I think I would go back to time, somewhere around 2002, and I would like to share something which is very close to, and you can still relate. This is in Calcutta. This is an organization which is called Philips. And Philips was very much in conflict. And they wanted to phase out this lighting division because the people they wanted to phase out and they wanted to say, look, we want to get into a voluntary retirement scheme and a handshake. So those of them who are working with us for a very long time, we would like to see how we can give them a package and make them more on their own. And if they want, they can go for a kind of training, or they would probably get into some kind of setting up of beauty parlors, or some of them who want to get into even taking over and buying a ambassador car and running a taxi of their own, whatever be the case. And there what has happened is, the participatory part comes in here, that the people were all called upon, and so that there is no union conflict there, and they were all called upon to the common hall, and the management started getting into a dialogue, because they worked for several years, and they were all very loyal and very good employees. So what happened is, we went into an interface where each one of them has said what is that they would like to do. And accordingly, we really gave them that kind of an option. And some of them said, we would like to have a package and walk out of it. Some of them said, no, I would like to set up a beauty parlor and go on to sustain on my own. And some of them said that I would like to buy an ambassador car, can you help me for a loan and whatever package which you, in addition, you can give. And that is what has happened. So each one of them were happy and walked out of it. So there was no conflict, there was absolutely fine. And they were also engaged. And at the same time, the Philips was also very happy. And I'm talking about the story of Philips India, which is in Calcutta. They had to phase out this unit, and they had to get onto this. but they did it in a participatory way. I am talking about in 2002. It's not even in 2023, about 21 years back. So that means it was existing. It's just that today I think it has become more and more. I think as Suryavanshi and as my other panel member has mentioned, I think today it is more and more happening, and that is what is important. So I think it was probably in some corners it was happening. Now we have come to the middle ground. I think the scale is much more higher. The more we do this, I think the more is the dialogue. So the essence of it is that the more we have the inclusivity and consensus drawn decision, I think it is in parity with everybody. And that's a perfect way of equality.
So now, students, now that you're awake and you're clapping, love to hear from you. If you have any questions for any of the panelists, this is the time. Now, this is not vote of thanks. This is not vote of thanks. This is for you to ask a question. I know it's already snacks and tea time, but if anybody has a question, else I'll have to bore you guys. So instead of me boring you guys, it's better that, yeah. There's a girl over there who would want to ask a question, please. Short introduction of yours and then you could. Okay, now she's hiding. I thought she raised her hand. Ma'am, VC ma'am has said 5 marks if you, in your exam, if you raise your hand and ask a question. 5 marks, 10 marks. Okay, you want to ask? Yeah, please, please, okay. 5 marks and we see a motivation over here, good. Please.
Good evening, sir. Especially, my question is for Suryavanshi, sir. That my question is BMC is working on something like, as we know, get to know that Bhubaneswar is working, collaborating with much more IT sectors or tech. If I can say, it is a new IT hub, as I can say Bhubaneswar is a new IT hub. So what's your views on that?
So, as far as Bhubaneswar and IT hub is concerned, this is the collaborative effort of government of Odisha, basically. We have seen over last 10 to 15 years, TCS is here, Deloitte is here, Wipro is here, Tech Mahindra is here, and for any, I think these are the tech giants, literally, because maybe they are. I am in Odisha since last 5 years, but these people are seeing the industry. To my mind, for any industry, we need skill manpower, work environment, ease of doing business, and ease of living. If these things are there, it will definitely, will promote the growth of an IT sector. So I will just give you one example. Recently, I had, as I have posted in the Bhubaneswar, I get to chance to visit various cities and see those cities from the urban governance point of view. So I will take example as Hyderabad and Bangalore and Bhubaneswar. So when I went to Bangalore, the so-called, the core of the Bangalore, so I said Bhubaneswar में बहुत ज़्यादा green लगता है ना, अच्छा city है. So my point is कि one point of time, एक point के बाद this is so happens कि people don't think about only about package. They think about ease of living. In which city I will have, not too hectic, not too lethargic. I will have opportunity also. I will have my family time also. If I am spending 2 hours daily in traffic, I will not have time for my family, for my kids. So I will say कि चलो ऐसे city में जाते हैं जहाँ पे कुछ time मिले. And I think Bhubaneswar is having all these things. We have good environment, we have greenery, we have big roads, and IT sector is coming up. So these all things will naturally enhance the IT sector of India, IT sector of Bhubaneswar. To give an example, when Hirakud Dam was constructed in Sambalpur, at that time college was established, your Sambalpur, Burla Engineering College. The motive was to provide a skill manpower. So if we look at Bhubaneswar, we have IITs, various engineering college, and apart from that, the civic amenities and government policy. These all things will collaborate, and definitely Bhubaneswar IT sector will boom in upcoming times. I hope I had tried to give you an
the motto is we can grow together. And to be together, it has to be participative. Sometimes what happens with the young chaps is that they think, am I asking the right question or not? There is nothing right or wrong question. A question is a question. Right? So be free. Right? So love to hear any other question any one of you have. Feel free, feel free. Well, if not, then probably I'll take the last question and then probably we'll, you still got one more chance. Anybody? All right. 10 marks. Dean sir has said he's also giving you 5 marks. We see 5 marks, Dean sir 5 marks. Getting 10 marks here, right? Okay. So, okay, let me now put a question probably which is very pertinent to the youth, to the Yuva students sitting over here, right? So one of the theme, one of the agenda is education. But while talking about education, let me also focus on skill set, which sir has already mentioned and given a lot of examples. So I think, a few years back, we had emails and SMS to communicate. Then came WhatsApp. WhatsApp changed a lot of things. Now people are doing business in WhatsApp. You are communicating in WhatsApp. WhatsApp also has an integrated payment. Then comes ChatGPT, as Priyadarshi had rightly mentioned, when he was talking about healthcare. And you can go to ChatGPT and you can say, hello ChatGPT, please write a white paper on controlling a DC motor using a SSR, having a frequency and using a asynchronous AC modulation. So the professor would be happy कि इतना अच्छा topic दिया है, इनको बैठ के लिखने दो. So you go to ChatGPT and ChatGPT gives you a white paper. But the problem over here is that when you submit it to the professor says, ये तो सब ditto लग रहा है, right? So what is important is also when technology is increasing, what is important is also what are the fundamental skill sets that one should have to be relevant in the future. Sir had already mentioned a few points over that, but I think the last question I would like to...
Last question would be from my side actually to Priyadarshi. There is a lot of thing going on. I think I am asking the question on their behalf actually.
10 marks to you.
Thank you. So this ChatGPT will really, it will change the scenario of employment generation. So as a tech giant, what you think? Is it a overestimated thing, or you really see yes, some big trouble is coming up as far as employment generation is coming?
Thank you for that thought-provoking question, sir. To me, I have spent quite some time in technology and I've seen many of these moments which we call as game-changing moments. To me, a moment is game-changing, relevant contextually to that frame of time. It is never game-changing forever. Today, a few years back, we spoke about big data AI that was massive, right? Then came natural language processing and we said it is great. Then it took it to a different level with ChatGPT and we said this is probably the moment. Fact of the matter is technology will never overcome the people who are going to use technology. To me, ChatGPT is a tool. The power of that tool is as much as the person who is using it. Technology will never become a threat to any kind of employment. In fact, it will encourage people to upskill themselves, to use that technology to become more productive. It is my view always in this kind of questions have been, it is not that it's going to cut down a labor force of 50 to 20. It will make that 50 now do the job of 200. That's how technology is going to leverage, and that's how today we are all super excited about ChatGPT, even I am, because I see usage of healthcare. Trust me, what we don't know, we don't know. In a year's time, we will see there will be a technology which will be significantly powerful than ChatGPT. And we'll all be looking at how do we skill ourselves or upskill ourselves to use that technology to become more productive. So it's a journey, it's a continuous journey. I think we should all be excited every time a new technology comes. There is always a sort of a fear psychosis that comes with it. We should not focus on that. We should always focus on how do we upskill ourselves so that at that moment we stay relevant in our abilities to use that technology to be more productive. I hope I've been able to answer you.
No, thank you. So if you want to add something. Right. So I think we have a question over here. Yeah, Vishal.
Yeah. So when we talk about technology integration, we have like civil score when we use a credit card, debit card we use. So going ahead in the future, do you think we will have civil score for health also? We'll have civil score for education. A government person sitting in Delhi will know about what is the person doing. A BMC person can know if he is helping out in the garbage collection or not. If he is doing his role as a good citizen or not. Going forward, do we think that technology will come inside so much that we will have civil score for each and everything? Each and every individual, each and every sector. In education also, in health also, and everything. for everyone. So I don't know.
So let me, have you read the book 1984? George Orwell.
Yeah, I've read that.
Big
George
Brother,
Orwell, yeah,
you
yeah,
remember Big Brother
yeah,
is watching you.
That was same question.
I mean,
that was,
it's a reality, right? Data is going to be pervasive. It's going to be so pervasive in our life that every event, every activity will leave a digital footprint. As we leave digital footprint, that digital footprint will automatically create a digital history about what we are doing, right? So to me, whether we will have a CIBIL score for health or not, I don't know. But our ability, for example, Suryavanshi sir should be able to sit in his office and have a very clear view of homogeneous cohorts who are healthy or have a particular health issue at a particular point, and then ensure that the limited resources available are deployed to the best productive use. That's how the correlation is going to happen. To me, what will happen is we will never ever pick up individual data. I mean, that's possible, but we will always take the PII, which is the personal information, out of it. We will aggregate data at a level that is helping us create cohorts, and those cohorts will become a significant use case for us to deploy our resources to serve them better. That's how I see it happening. For our individual needs, we will probably have still a health card which will bring out our insurance premium. For our individual need, we will still have a CIBIL score which helps us get an insurance. But from the governance perspective, if you see, it will always be data at an aggregated level, and that will help our, our governance bodies to deploy the resources to the right use. That's how I see the need happening in the future.
So I will just add one thing to his views. Earlier he used the term fear psychosis. So most of the time when we see technology, let's say for example health, or we as a government servant, technology can change the scenario in a lot of ways, because as the health sector is concerned, initial times, not like very long back, just take let's say for example 50 years ago, we had different diseases, and lot of people used to lose their life for simple reason. Even for malaria, there was a huge malaria death. So until and unless we have data, we cannot develop the system to deal the problem. So at the same time, when we have data with its analytics, we can change the game. At the same time, we have to be cautious, and I think every level, whether it's government level, private organization, international bodies, always try to come up with the system so that data will not be utilized misappropriately. I think everyone is trying that. But at the same time, I think it will be injustice on the technology to see from the perspective ki yes, every time data will be used, for a wrong reason. So there was one WhatsApp message. I don't know if it's the appropriate forum or not. It's a basically joke. So one thief come to house and he pretended that I am your husband's friend, that wife. So firstly she was little hesitant. Then he started saying everything. Acha, 7 days back you went there. 8 days back that guest come to your house. You purchased sari from that mall. So then she started believing, yes, he is my husband's friend. My husband must have told him. Ultimately, after some time, they entered in the house. They do the robbery, and while leaving the house, they said ki. Then she asked ki, how you got such a small information about my house. Everything is there on your status. Whether Instagram stories or Facebook stories or WhatsApp stories. So I think this is a misuse by us. No company has shared your data with the thief, right? It's you who put everything on the WhatsApp. If I am purchasing phone, I will immediately, yes, I have purchased a phone. And in this thing, if technology is getting smarter, people are more smart in using the technology. So sometimes individual also need to be very careful while using the technology. Then it can be a best way to use any technology and be adaptive and be accommodative for any new technology.
Just wanted to add whatever has been said, saying that analytics and data science are actually going to be, is not been exploded completely. So it will be very highly exploded, and that is where the cloud space is going to get redefined. Then the whole data will be actually virtually available. So, but at the same time, I think the caution is that the abuse of data or the abuse of information way cause to as much as just now the example which has been shared. So sometimes on a humorous way, that's why we say that when you're going for the bed, when you're going back to your bedroom, please keep your mobile phones out into the drawing room so that they don't listen to what you're doing in the bedroom. It's always better to keep it away because sometimes the technology taps too much into your privy of your life, and that could be as dangerous as that, and that is the world which we are going to enter. So please be very careful about it because that is the caution, and that is as much as your self-discipline for that.
Just to share on that, I think a few days back, something had come up which probably would be of interest. Uber. So if you have 80% battery in your phone, and if you have 15% battery in your phone, the pricing is different for the same location. Because Uber knows that if it is 15%, you definitely want to book the cab. You are not worried about the price. So you see, technology is there. How to use it is totally, as he said, good commerce. So it has to be a responsible, usage of technology. So, and I think everybody of us would agree that you guys are in the best time. If we guys were in your time, I think the opportunities that you're getting in terms of technology, in terms of exposure, and I'm sure VC ma'am is smiling, right? I mean, you can do wonders. We can only be facilitators, but you are the youth and you are the young generation. And I'm sort of, I feel young being here. So if any closing remarks anybody has, I think, yeah, sir would like to. We love examples.
Since I'm working.
That's the way to, sort of communicate, and the best way to communicate.
Field level is a real-time and real-life example. I'm taking the clue from BC Madam's thing. The knowledge is there, but apply the knowledge in the right time, in the right forum. So we are working, as I told you, we are working with the SHGs throughout the, employment career working. In one of the areas near the Chodwar and Katak and that, forgetting the name of the place, that is called, that is Tangi se opposite, forgetting that name. That is the border of Jajpur, Katak and Dhenkanal district. That village is situated in such a place that part of their house is in Jajpur district, their agricultural land is Katak district, like that. So there basically no development work is happening there, so they are basically depending on the nature and current. So we are trying to develop them to be agriculture based livelihood. We are trying to develop that. And we also form some groups also, farmers group, village group, all the things, village group institutional form, and SHGs also form. And we also develop a saving mechanism, and they are saving monthly, they are saving something, and they started some agriculture based initiative. So when I went for the final evaluation of that project after 2 years or something like that, there again, some of the community again back to that nature, wildlife and taking the, cutting the forest, selling the trees, all the things. I said, what happened? Why didn't you do, you started agriculture, why didn't? No sir, actually we didn't have the money to buy the pesticides, that's why our agricultural land was, everything damaged there. Then I said, how much, although we don't promote in chemical pesticides, insecticides, but I said, how much it would cost? So it would cost about 18,000. And how much money you have in the saving? Sir, 54,000. That you are saying that you don't have money to buy the pesticides, but you are saving on 54,000. So we should not land in that process. कि हमारे पास क्या है and how to apply the things in right time, in right forum. It makes a difference. So,
thank you one and all. I had a lovely time interacting with the panelists and interacting with you. So I think we come to the end of the session. Over to you, Gaurav, for everybody is happy. Sorry, Wala. Sorry, Wala.
Good evening.
I know it's a very difficult and heavy topic, but I think we did justice. Yeah, but unfortunately, fortunately, this is a G20 initiative, so we can't.
So it was really brainstorming, right? Can't hear. Yes. Now, sir started with a positive note, and I ended with a positive note. We feel enlightened and believe that we got to know many things from here, and from this discussion. And I fall short of describing how much information and knowledge we got it from here. And the use of technologies can be diversification. The use of technology can create good bad also. The motive should be that we should use technology in a good way. Now I would like to invite Vishal ji to felicitate Professor Supriya Patnaik, Vice Chancellor CUTM.
We would like to have you on stage. With
To
others,
give a
with other
memento
dignitaries also.
as a token of love and affection.
Just for the closing remarks before the felicitation begins. So,
Supriya ma'am is very popular, it seems. The moment
we
she
know
comes.
we know that you guys are anxious to leave. Just be a part of this movement, Young Indians. We conducted this कि आप लोग को पता चले what is Young India. How can you be part of it? हम सब यहाँ पे इसीलिए आए हैं ताकि आपको पता चले how we can inspire you and how you will enjoy contributing to your city, to your nation development. Thank you.
Calling all the YA members, let's have group pic.
A huge round of applause for the YI team and the CUTM team which did this in just less than 7 days. We just got information from the ministry that kuch karna hai Bhubaneswar mein, and within 7 days the CUTM team and the YI team did it. Kudos to you all. Thank you. And especially Sangram sir.
Sangram sir really motivated us. We have some refreshments for you. Please stay back.
Hello. So youth is a time of tremendous energy. You should look at the possibilities, not the problems. When a team outgrows individual performance and learns team confidence, excellence becomes a reality. Let's put a big round of applause for our beautiful dancers of Centurion University.
Did you look for me? I walked in there.
मैं तेरा बेबी तू मेरी तेरी आंखों में मैं खो जाऊं सांसों में बसी है तू ही मेरी बाहों में आ देरी न कर come on I wanna take you up and down round and round तेरी रात रहूं मैं तेरे साथ and hang around बन जा मेरी तू ही मेरी BF में तेरा तू मेरी
पिक्चर अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त